Hey, my friends, what is good? Derek here from Bomb Socks with more Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ and we do it one bite at a time. So, section 93 of the Doctrine and Covenants, I want to preface it with a little experience that I had, a little story. You're going back to the days of Elder Crimmon as a missionary. I served in the South Dakota Rapid City Mission way back in the day, and I remember as a brand new greenie, like it was literally like my first or second day out, my trainer decided to take me tracting. You know, I've always heard about tracting, like we gotta go try this. And so we went to, we were up in Fargo, North Dakota, and we were on the campus of North Dakota State University, which is up there. And we went to some married student housing. We thought we'd try to find some young couples and young families and teach them about the gospel. So my very first door, and it was funny, my companion, he'd said, you don't often find a lot of success with tracting. He said, it's a tough one, but he said, let's give it a shot. And so he said, do you want to do the first door? And I'm like, of course I do. I've been preparing for this moment. So I went and knocked on the door, and this young Chinese boy, he's about 5 years old, just opened up the door, and he just kind of looks up, and I was just like, hi, my name is Elder Crimmon. I'm a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I'm here in your neighborhood sharing a message about Jesus Christ. Could we come in and share it? And he just looked at me, and he was kind of like, what? And I said, hi, my name is Elder Crimmon. I went through the whole thing again, and my trainer, patient trainer, he's kind of rolled his eyes. He's like, greenie. And I was like, all right. So this kid just looked, he goes, let me go get my dad. And so he goes and gets his dad, and his father comes in, and his father comes in, and he's like, hi, my name is Elder Crimmon. I'm a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And this man just sat and smiled very pleasantly, and he whispered something in Chinese to his son, and they whispered back, and the 5-year-old says, my dad said you can come in. And so, like, okay. And so as we walked into their house, just it was a young couple with this 5-year-old. And anyway, they very pleasant people, but I quickly learned that we were going to be having a conversation through a 5-year-old because Dad didn't speak a lot of English. He had come over from China and was going to school here. I opened up the Book of Mormon, and I started showing him the Book of Mormon and was teaching it to the 5-year-old. The 5-year-old would then teach it to his dad, and then all the way through there. And eventually, after like 5 minutes of doing this, the dad was like, he whispered something to his son, and the son said, my dad doesn't quite know what you're talking about. And so my companion, again, my awesome companion, he grabs the Book of Mormon. He's like, let me see what I can do. And he goes in and he starts sharing from the Book of Mormon. After a while, this 5-year-old said, no, my dad understands, because my trainer was trying to point out, here's Lehi and Nephi and some of these, here's a Benadi in the Book of Mormon. And he's like, no, my dad knows who those are because, he explained it. And I'm like, yeah, I explained it. That's right. And he goes to the very start of the book, this Book of Mormon, and he opens it up and he points to a picture of Jesus Christ. And he's like, my dad doesn't know who he is. And I just thought, okay. And my companion and I just kind of looked at one another. We're like, and we were baffled because so much of what a missionary teaches comes with the assumption of people knowing who Jesus Christ is. A lot of people go out there with that basic mindset. And this man who had been raised in a country where Jesus Christ is not really a huge part of their culture. And so we had to start at the beginning. And that for me was a very interesting experience to be able to teach someone about Jesus Christ who had never heard of Jesus Christ. And so that was kind of an interesting one. And so I want to kind of play with that today. And long story short, we actually ended up going back later that night. We had dinner with them, homemade Chinese food. It was wonderful. We eventually got to a point where it just wasn't connecting as well, but we made some good friendships that day and hopefully planted some good seeds there. So, but anyway, we helped them understand who Jesus Christ was. So for a moment, I would like you to imagine that you get to teach someone about Jesus Christ that has never heard of him before. I know that's hard to think because you and I have that. Help them want to know more about how to become like him. And all you can use is section 93, verses 1 through 10. So what I would invite you to do, and this is a cool little activity you can do as a family, you can do it as an individual, write down a short little paragraph using thoughts and verses from that above block. And it would be cool. You can share it with someone, you can share it with us, write it in the comments of either Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. I'd love to see what you guys think about this, but just take a couple minutes, study through this, and I'll just bring up one little point for you. So take a minute and we'll come right back. So these first 10 verses are pretty amazing when it comes to understanding who Jesus Christ is. You look at even verse 1, verily, thus saith the Lord, it shall come to pass that, and there's almost like a pattern here, every soul who, 1, forsaketh his sins, 2, cometh unto me, 3, calleth on my name, 4, obeyeth my voice, and 5, keepeth my commandments, shall see my face and know that I am. Now, the cool thing about that is I really believe that is true. However, how we do it, and one of the ones that I would recommend doing also is there's a good cross-reference that we studied a couple weeks ago. It's section 88, verse 68. Now, you combine section 93, verse 1 with this cross-reference. It says, therefore, sanctify yourselves, which is basically what Jesus Christ is suggesting do in that first verse, that your minds become single to God, and the days will come that you shall see him. Okay, that's the same promise. You'll see my face and know who I am. For he will unveil his face to you. But here's a key element. It shall be in his own time and in his own way and according to his own will. That's the cool thing about this, is you understand that this will happen. You do these things, you will see the face of the Lord. Now, how it happens and when it happens is completely up to him. And oftentimes, and I'll remind you this, you will see the face of the Lord in other people as you are trying to serve, and you start seeing other people that way. That verse number 2 back in section 93, I am the true light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. We're going to have an opportunity to talk a little bit about light this week as well. So utilize this section, particularly these first few verses, to understand really who Jesus Christ is, and then build on that and just share it with other people. I can testify to you that that is true, and it's a wonderful way to read it. So, hey, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thank you for sharing. Make sure you check out our amazingly comfortable gospel-themed socks at bombsocks.com. You guys are awesome. Godspeed. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.